Finally, it looks like we have a real contender to challenge the Swiggy Zomato duopoly in India. For nearly a decade, the two food delivery giants have fed our hunger and dominated prime real estate on our phone screens, leaving very little room for any serious challengers. Most who tried to break in got their fingers burnt before they even really got started. And these were big names, the likes of Uber Eats or Coca-Cola backed Thrive. Even Ola has dipped its toes in the big bad world of 10-minute food delivery through the government backed Open Network for Digital Commerce, better known as the ONDC platform. But most of these attempts have either crashed and burned, as in the case of Uber Eats and Thrive, or are in their very nascent stages and aren't even remotely close to taking on the Swiggy Zomato duopoly. But now a new player has decided to throw its hat into the ring. And this is a player that has some experience taking on Titans, though the last time around, it was in a completely different space. I'm talking about Rapido, the Bangalore-based startup that quietly muscled its way into India's ride-hailing market long after Ola and Uber had called dibs. According to a proposal to restaurateurs that surfaced earlier this week, the ride-hailing unicorn is all set to launch its own food delivery platform called, well, Only with a W. It plans to launch its pilot in Bangalore later this month.
Now, Rapido's advantage is clear. It is its 4 million strong army of riders in 500 Indian cities, not to mention its 30 million active monthly users. So, it has a well established logistics network in place, which is a critical component that has made or broken players in the past. But beyond that, Rapido has taken a page out of the ride hailing playbook. It wants to undercut Swiggy and Zomato by going after commissions. Just as it once attracted drivers with better margins, it is now hoping to lure restaurants by offering lower fees than Swiggy or Zomato. Multiple news reports suggest that Rapido will not be charging a commission and also will not have a platform fee and packaging costs that are the norm on Zomato and Swiggy. Food often costs up to 40% more online, and that has been a big reason why many people avoid ordering. But Rapido says that it is here to change that. Sure, the mission sounds noble, and its pilot model with zero commission, equal pricing in offline and online, and meals as low as 150 rupees looks quite compelling. But the real question is, how will Rapido make money? Hello and welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Nigdha.
And I'm Rahil, and we don't usually chase the news cycle, but today we are.
Every day of the week, we come to you with one news story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Friday, the 13th of June.
Rapido's strategy with Only is fairly straightforward. Keep costs low for both customers and restaurants. Now, anyone who's ever ordered food online knows you're not just paying for the meal. There's the delivery fee, a platform fee, packaging charges, and of course, taxes. And then there are also the less visible markups, like restaurants inflating menu prices to offset platform commissions. By the time you check out, your 250 rupee meal might be pushing 400 rupees. So, with Only, Rapido says it wants to strip away as many of these add ons as possible. Lower commissions for restaurants, fewer hidden charges for customers, and a more transparent fee structure overall. Reports say that Rapido's Only will charge 10 rupees for orders under 100 in total value, with customers paying 20 rupees as delivery fee for every order. For orders below 400, the fee will be rupees 25 and rupees 50 on orders above 400. If you do the math, the commission rate is significantly lower than what incumbents Zomato and Swiggy charge. This pricing model is largely based on multiple rounds of conversations between Rapido and the National Restaurant Association of India, or NRAI, which represents over 5 lakh restaurants across the country. Now, the body has been working with the ride hailing platform for 6 months now, and it reportedly pushed Rapido to explore a new, more sustainable business model for the sector. In its note to NRAI about Only, Rapido said it believes ordering food online is a very different experience from eating out, and customers expect different things from it. So it looked for solutions that fit this very unique experience. It also said it thinks the food delivery market can only grow if there are big changes, either in how much it costs to operate or in what's being offered to customers. But still, why food delivery? Well, things have been really looking up for Rapido. It's currently valued at over $1 billion and recently raised a fresh round of investment worth $30 million from Process on top of a $200 million round led by Westbridge Capital. For Rapido, food delivery is a strategic next step, one that makes use of its massive fleet, keeps riders busier, and gives restaurants and customers a reason to look beyond the usual suspects. But while that makes sense in theory, pulling it off will be a whole other ballgame. While its lower commission model may appeal to certain smaller restaurants in the short term, it'll probably have to raise the rates in the long term to actually sustain operations. Now, this is a cutthroat industry, and the economics are pretty harsh. Swiggy and Zomato still have a decade over Rapido. There's also something more that Swiggy has. You'll find out in the next segment. Hi, I am briefly pausing this episode to make a very special announcement. On June 21st at the Bangalore International Centre, the Ken is bringing together a pretty extraordinary panel for a one-of-a-kind discussion on how we can lead healthier and happier lives. We'll be joined by Olympic swimmer Nisha Millet, Vice Chairman of the Narayana Health Hospital Group Viren Shetty, and finally, Dr. Syriac Abby Phillips, aka the Liver Doc. Join us for what promises to be an insightful, vibrant discussion that covers a whole range of topics. From how to get great sleep, to attaining mental clarity through workouts, to which supplements matter, to how to take care of aging parents and growing children, you get the drift. That's not all. We also want your help to shape this discussion. So send us your questions for Nisha, Viren, and the Liver Doctor, and we will take care of the rest. All the details about the event, where to purchase tickets, and how to submit your questions will be in the show notes. We hope to see you there. And with that out of the way, let's get back to the episode.
You see, last mile delivery is the lifeblood of any food delivery business. But at the same time, it is also its biggest pain point. Pretty much every major platform in the space has long struggled with a chronic shortage of delivery partners. It is not an easy problem to solve. You see, because most staffers are gig workers, which means it is in their interest to work for the highest paying platform at any given point of time. And the bidding wars for delivery personnel end up driving costs for these platforms. But then, 2 years ago, Swiggy thought that it had cracked the code. It gave delivery personnel the option to do bike taxi rides during non-peak hours, and it incentivized them for doing more work in a day. The goal was to have a better shot at retaining them, particularly during peak hours, so during breakfast, lunch, and dinner time. How was Swiggy able to do this? Now, here is where it gets fun. You see, Swiggy made a 950 crore rupee investment in none other than Rapido. It ended up with a sweet 15% stake in the company as a result, making it the second largest shareholder after investment firm Westbridge Capital. In January 2023, the food delivery giant ended up carrying out a pilot run in Chennai to understand whether delivery partners were even interested in the service. Swiggy also wanted to see whether it would lead to an increase in earnings for them. But the results were mixed. While many of its delivery partners did see an uptick in their earnings, it wasn't quite as successful as they had hoped it would be. Some delivery partners said they weren't really comfortable with the new experience. Because, you see, at the end of the day, food delivery is an extremely expensive proposition. Customers expect low delivery fee, fast service, and constant discounts. But the cost of delivering a single meal is disproportionately high. You need a vast fleet and constant incentives to keep delivery partners active. And that is where most possible challengers have failed. But perhaps the most aggrieved party in all of this are the restaurants. They are fuming. They are already in a business with infamously low margins, but on top of that, they have to deal with commissions from the likes of Swiggy and Zomato that can go as high as 25 to 30% per order. Now, more players would mean more competition in the market, which is always great for customers. And for restaurants, Rapidos Only could finally mean a level playing field. But there is still a big question that remains unanswered. How will Rapido make money? Stay tuned to find out.
Only zero commission model and affordable meals might sound great for restaurants and customers. But Rapido is still running a business. And right now, it is burning through nearly $5 million a month. So keeping those costs in check or actually turning a profit is going to be critical. If you look at the proposal Rapido sent to restaurant partners, it seems like the company isn't really chasing commissions. It's more interested in the longer game. Rapido says once it brings about what it calls real structural change in delivery pricing across the industry, it plans to introduce a flat subscription fee for restaurants. No per order charges, just a consistent monthly payment. It's a model that mirrors what Rapido already does in its ride-hailing business.
But that is not all. Rapido is also betting big on volume. The idea is simple. Make food affordable enough to attract an entirely new customer base, which is people who have avoided ordering online because prices were just too high. To ensure this actually happens, Rapido will require its restaurant partners to list at least 4 meals priced at 150 rupees or less. And that is their way of reaching value-conscious users and increasing repeat orders. Their strategy stands in stark contrast to Swiggy and Zomato, who are constantly working to increase average order values. Rapido is actually going the other way with low-cost meals and high-frequency orders. And there is also a third revenue stream in the works. Rapido is planning to let restaurants advertise on the platform and access customer data to run targeted marketing campaigns. And that opens the door for future monetization without charging restaurants a cut of every sale. Also, let us not forget that Rapido actually has some experience in taking on established giants like Ola and Uber with zero commission models in the ride-hailing sector. So, yes, its model for food delivery is bold with zero commissions, affordability, and scale-first economics. But will it really end up creating a more sustainable model in this space? We will have to wait and watch. Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings.
A full subscription unlocks daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and podcast extras. Head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the Ken website.
Today's episode was hosted and produced by Rahel Philippos and I, Snigdha Sharma, and it was edited by Rajiv CN.